I promise, honey, I can feel your pain, and maybe I enjoy it just a little bit. Does that make me insane?
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Catan Lorelei here, and I don't know about you, but this season in Arena has been, it has been rough, especially for standard players. Especially if you're doing the ranked battles, my goodness, there is a whole ton of cards out there that have been, well, let's face it, toxic. There's a ban going to be coming up pretty soon, but we don't really know what can be banned or what should, well, I know what should be banned, but we don't know if it will be banned. And well, there's a few options we can take here. We can either get upset about it and just keep playing our mono red deck that well, it just kind of falls flat, as we've seen on the live stream over and over again, or we can get a little petty. We can start a new segment that I like to call Petty Deck Tech. And what better way to premiere this new series than with our very first petty deck, the Petty Praetors Standard Best of 1. Oh, we're getting so petty with this, you cannot imagine. And I'll tell you about it right now. The one thing that we have here that we absolutely enjoy just breaking the hell out of is Realmbreaker, the Invasion Tree. Now, this one is first ability for 2 and a tap. Opponent mills 3 cards, and you put a land card from their graveyard onto the battlefield tapped under your control. If it dies, you exile it, but, you know, that's not really the important part. It's a nice little ramp piece. The important part is this second ability here, the 10 and a tap and a sacrifice. You search your library for any number of Praetor cards, and you put them onto the battlefield, and then you shuffle. Well, what Praetors do we have? Well, we have... well, all of them except for the red one, because thematically speaking, they all work together very nicely, except for the red one. He's kind of off doing his own thing, and that does make sense canonically. But let's take a look at some of the Praetors that we're going to be playing here. We got Jin-Gitaxias Progress Tyrant. We got Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines. We got Jin-Gitaxias. We got Sheoldred. We have Vorinclex, we have Elesh Norn, and we have Sheoldred the Apocalypse, and of course we have the baby of the group, Gix, Yawgmoth Praetor. Now, don't underestimate Gix. He can do some very nasty stuff, and not even, you know, just with the draw mechanic that pairs nicely with Sheoldred the Apocalypse, but also his ability over here for discarding the cards, exiling the top X cards, and basically using your opponent's deck against them. If that's not petty, I don't know what is. But you know, these guys are pretty annoying individually and will definitely cause a lot of attention to be drawn to them. Players will definitely try to get them off the field as quickly as possible whenever they show up. But you know what really messes a lot of players up? Well, when they all enter the battlefield at the exact same time. And thanks to Realmbreaker over here, that is possible. For 10, admittedly a lot, but the second thing that this deck does, aside from throw down all the Praetors, well, it ramps. Oh boy, does it ramp. We have the large ramp piece with the Invasion of Zendikar that's throwing down 2 basic lands right to the battlefield and then shuffling them for 3 in a forest. And we got basic lands we got to throw down. We got plains, islands, swamps, forest. It's we're ramping. And for another ramp piece over here, we have Relic of Legends. 3, and we tap it for 1 mana of any color. But this also turns our creatures into ramp pieces as well, mostly because we have to tap and untap legendary creature we control, and then we add 1 mana of any color. Well, all the creatures we're playing in this deck are legendary creatures, so congratulations. Now all the Praetors are also mana dorks. I gotta love it, and well, that's about it, because our opponents certainly don't love it. And speaking of things they're not going to really like, Scout the Wilderness. Now this one has the ability to, you know, search for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. It's a good little piece of ramp, but also this kicker on here. If the spell was kicked, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. They're fantastic for chump blockers, because unfortunately it might take a little while to get our good board state online. We'll be floundering and we'll be ramping, solely concentrating on ramping in the first 3 to 4 turns and stalling. very, very hard stalling. And it's going to look like we're on the back foot until, oh no, they realize what exactly our deck's main goal is with Realmbreaker over here. And then, oh, well, then they get really scared because then the ramp has already run away with them and they don't know what to do. So, in the meantime, chump blockers are always a valuable commodity. And if not chump blockers, well, we can sacrifice these two, plus one more, to our Elesh Norn over here to activate the enchantment saga that she is going to crack off eventually. And incubating 5 times creatures, we can show +1/+1 and double strike, and then destroy all other permanents. It is an insane enchantment saga, to be sure. And some of the most fun about getting these Praetors on the field isn't necessarily swinging out right away, but it's doing nice and crazy things with these enchantment sagas that are forcing a lot of players to scoot before we actually do anything to them. And I get it. It's understandable. We've done it before in the past, but now it's other people's turns. And speaking of ramp pieces over here, we have Blighted Burgeoning, which we enchant a land, and then we incubate 2, and the enchanted land taps for a mana, and you add an additional 1 mana of any color. It's nice. We get this little incubator token over here that we can use again as a chump blocker or to sacrifice to Elesh Norn over here. Now, we have for another ramp piece, Joint Exploration for 1 and a blue. We scry 2 and then we draw a card. But if the spell is kicked, which the kicker cost is only 1 green, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. It's fantastic to have in the early game. And we have multiple lands in hand. It helps us ramp. It smooths out our draws. We get the cards that we need coming up and pitch it to the bottom of the deck, the ones that we don't. We may not necessarily have to grab all of our Praetors and have them in hand because, well, if we crack Realmbreaker, we're just going to put them onto the battlefield and, you know, wherever they are in our library. So, in all honesty, sometimes the library is a safer place for them than in our hand or even on the battlefield. Now, our 4 of 1 drop here is Bushwhack. We got searching our library for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. That's the second ability on it, and that's very important because a lot of these Praetors, well, they're pretty big, and they can be their own removal with just 1 green. Fighting somebody else, and, well, if Elesh Norn is on the field, then that damage that they take from that fight, well, then the other person is going to have to pay for the privilege of, you know, healing that boo-boo. Otherwise, they're going to get a boo-boo right back with a loss of 2 life. And it's petty, to be sure. I mean, heck, if you get Jin-Gitaxias on the battlefield, this Bushwhack, which is a sorcery, gets to be copied, and we can choose new targets, and it is disgusting. But we love it because it's petty. Now, one thing that we need to really kind of watch, because this deck takes a little while to get online, we got to stall. We got to get rid of creatures, and depending on how many creatures they're getting out, we got a couple of ways of doing that. We got Liliana of the Veil. If they're getting out some pretty big creatures and we need to keep tempo, maybe pitching stuff out of their hand once we've completely dropped everything in ours, or sacrificing their creatures the second Liliana gets on the field, it's fantastic because even if they have hexproof, that's fine. Liliana's targeting the player, not the creature. So, you know, they can sacrifice a bunch of stuff. And what usually ends up happening is when Liliana's on the field, people don't swing at us. They usually try to take her out to make sure that we don't keep her around too long to use her ultimate ability. There's only a few times we're really going to use her ultimate ability, but Liliana here does buy us some time to get our ramp game on point so that we can do the thing that our deck is meant to do, which is get out all the Praetors. Now, sometimes Liliana, well, she's only one woman. She really can't do everything on her own, and some of these board states are out of control with these token generators, and well, sometimes you just need to wipe the slate clean on that, and that's what Depopulate is for. 4 copies here for 2 and a double white. Each player who controls a multicolored creature draws a card, then destroys all creatures. We clear out the board, and oftentimes when we're popping off our Depopulate, we don't really have a board presence of creatures to worry about on our end. Maybe a couple of jump blockers in the form of an incubator token or a soldier, but I'm pretty sure it's our opponent's board state that's going to get wrecked worse than ours, and it is definitely good to have 4 of these. Now, as far as our lands go, we have a little bit of land fixing that we're doing in here. We got 3 plains, we got 3 islands, we got 3 swamps, and we got 5 forests because, well, our card, we got 13 green cards, we got 6 black cards, we got 6 blue cards, and we got 6 white cards. So green is the predominant color in this deck. So we will need to have just a little bit more on that one. We have a Raffine's Tower in here for a blue, a white, and a black. It has the ability to create any of those. And if we don't need it, well, we can just pay 3 and we can just cycle through it and come to something that we do need. But now we have these little hideout cards over here. The Brokers Hideout, the Cabaretti Courtyard, the Maestros Theater, the Obscura Storefront, and the Riveteers Overlook. Now, any of these that have the colors, all 3 of the colors that we're looking for, like the Brokers Hideout, which has forest, plains, and island, we have 2 of. Same thing with the Obscura Storefront, because that's plains, islands, and swamps. So it is definitely good to have. Now, these ones can go and grab one of 3 lands that we are definitely going to need, and it's also going to get us a life. Now, again, like I said, it takes us a while to get this deck online, and a couple of life, well, that can be the difference between we have just depopulated their entire board state and now it's time for a counterattack with only 3 life left, or we're dead before we can do anything. And I've seen it multiple times with this deck, and I absolutely, well, I love playing as this. I haven't said this about a deck in quite a bit of time, but, you know, enough about that. Let's see how it plays. So let's get on in for some nice ranked matches here. Let's find our first test subject. Petty Praetors, standard best of 1. Let's go. Who is going to help us test this deck today? All right, so Blue Drink, come on down. And thanks for being in the video. All right, now I don't like this hand. Usually with this deck, a good opening hand looks like at least 3 lands we can play. So let's mulligan down. There we go. That's looking a little bit better. We will keep this and we will pitch Vorinclex so that we can do the things that we need to do. Done. Alright, so first and foremost, we're going to get to Liliana here. So we're going to drop a green and we're going to Bushwhack to search the library for a black card. Swamp, and we're gonna drop the Raffine's Tower over here on turn 2. And there we go. So now, well, they're not really doing much of anything just yet, so we're gonna do Brokers Hideout. And we're gonna put a plains on the battlefield. And next turn, let's see what they do. They're probably going to try and destroy it. No, we got to crack it. Which is good, because then we're going to throw down a swamp, and then Liliana comes out, and sacrifices.
I'll have this fight finished before brunch. Off you go.
There we go. Alright, and now they're going to see our little play over here. No, maybe, maybe not. We've got Invasion of Zendikar, so that we're going to keep the ramp going. We are going to keep this ramp going. We're going to get and
You won't be outsmarting me.
Pitcher planes. Cells. All right. Uh-oh. Elesh Norn.
Knew this was a waste of time.
That's okay. Really? Going down.
When I win,
Sacrifice.
you're telling me. Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
And then we got a Realmbreaker. And reveal something. We'll put it on the battlefield over here. Here we go. Oh boy. Oh! They did a thing. Oh, it hurts. They trapped our Realmbreaker. Ouch. Well,
This isn't how things were supposed to
okay,
go.
Jin-Gitaxias. Let's do it. Let's fight. Target creature control. Fight target creature control. And then we'll copy it so we can fight some more. You get to copy it, so guess what? You choose that one and then you do it again. Ah! Oh, it's so cruel. And then we get Realmbreaker back. And then he's gonna try and do a thing, but he's gonna get countered because it's an artifact. Oh no! Oh boy. Here we go, killing again. Okay, yeah, we'll tap Jin-Gitaxias. But we're also going to drop that, and we're also going to crack Realmbreaker. And here we go, everybody! Creators, come on out! Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines, Jin-Gitaxias, Sheoldred, Vorinclex, Elesh Norn, Sheoldred the Apocalypse, and Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. Join the party, guys! We got cookies! Oh, we couldn't take it. It was too much. See? A lot of times, we don't even get these guys to 0. All we do is just get and assemble the Praetor friends, and they do that. It's a disgusting, disgusting deck, and it makes people react like that. But if you really want to see more of this, you know, check out the live stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be debuting this deck, and we're going to be climbing the ranks. Who knows? Maybe we'll actually make Mythic this month. Well, thanks for stopping by, guys, and we will see you in the arena.
And now I have the power to bathe all of you in entertaining.